Well, we should probably get started. Welcome, everyone. I am so glad to have you here. I'll introduce Linda in just a minute, our speaker for today. Just in case you're wondering how you got here, I am coming to you from OLLI at the University of South Dakota. USD is located in Vermillion, South Dakota. However, we're coming to you from a satellite place in Sioux Falls at the University Center, which they keep changing our names. So eventually we're going to be University of South Dakota at Sioux Falls. So whatever you want to call us right now is just fine. What we're doing, as I was explaining just a little bit earlier, is OLLI shorts this month. These are 20-minute sessions at lunchtime, at our lunchtime. So you can learn a little bit about what OLLI has to offer across the United States. And if you're not from our OLLI, we encourage you to check out, just Google OLLI in your state and you'll find your nearest OLLI. We are going to have programming every day this month at 12:30 Central Time. And the only day we don't is the 21st because that's the President's Day holiday and we won't be here. We will talk to Linda, let Linda talk, we'll ask her some questions. And at the end, we'll have a little bit of time for Q&A. We will end by 1 o'clock, you'll be done then. Just a note, I would like to thank the South Dakota Humanities Council and the National Endowment for the Humanities for helping make this program possible. Welcome everybody and welcome Linda. Linda's on mute. There we go.
I'm unmuted. Thank you. Oh, I'm so thrilled to be with you. You are the highlight of my day.
Aw, thanks. Thanks. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself. And I know that you've made a presentation for us.
I did. So I'd like to share my PowerPoint, but should I just take 1 minute and tell you about Sedona OLLI?
Please
Would that be helpful?
Yes.
So our OLLI program, we are at a community college. So we're one of 5 OLLI institutes that are located in community colleges throughout the country. So we consider it a particular honor that we get to be affiliated with all of the fine universities like the University of South Dakota and others throughout the country. There are 3 OLLI institutes in the state of Arizona. We're about 7.5 million people, about 5 million of which live in Phoenix, the waterless city. We'll talk about that in a minute. But our OLLI Institute, we have a main campus in Prescott where we have prior to the pandemic, we had about 1,000 members. And in Sedona Verde Valley, if you look at our county, it's Yavapai County, we had about 1,000 members. Arizona has 16 counties, big counties. We're considered a rural county where we're located. So we actually have, I'm the Associate Dean for Lifelong Learning and I have purview over the OLLI programs. And I work with Tricia Burlow, who's our director of the OLLI programs, and she's super. Thea and I have both worked with her, and you have a super director in Thea, and I just met Stacy, and if she's anything like Thea, you guys are just being led by the best 2 ladies that you could have. This is a great idea. So that's in general what we're doing. We're like you all, we're member-led, member-driven, so that we have 3 campuses in which we conduct our classes, and we are our teachers are not paid, so it is lay people that volunteer to teach, people from the community, and occasionally we grab a faculty member from our college. So shall I go ahead and start my weather presentation? And then, you know what, I'm pretty fluid. I think you find most of us, tell me if I've got the screen up, we practiced, but are you seeing my Sedona, Arizona weather?
Yes, it's
good. Okay, great. If you have a question, I don't mind if you, I'm not going to be able to watch you and do my presentation. But if you want to say, hey, Linda, you know, where did you get the name Sedona? Or whatever you want to say, feel free to interrupt me because we've got time and I'm very comfortable with that. But you're seeing the Arizona state flag, which is very lovely. I wish I would have put on here the state travel signs. Has anybody, I can't see, but if you've been to Arizona, you may have seen it. It has the alpine. So you have an alpine tree, you have the cactus, and you, believe it or not, have water because we do have page, we have some man-made lakes and we have rivers and creeks, but it's a really cool combination of lots of different geography, but it also has a very broad range of weather, and that's why you asked me to come to talk about weather. But when you think of Sedona, at least for most of us, and Phoenix, and as well as Tucson, just like you think of Albuquerque, New Mexico, hot air balloons. So one morning I came to work, and that's the building where I work, and there was a hot air balloon right above me. Isn't that the coolest? So let me resume my slideshow, and here we go. This is one of our OLLI members, and you can see we are in Sedona. She is wearing shorts, and I think this was yes, she did take this. This was an August photo of the building, and that's our little OLLI logo that we use with the meditating person, and you can see our background. The image in the middle is a picture taken this November, and that is called Cathedral Rock, and you can see that beautiful blue sky, and I'm going to talk to you about how much sunlight we get here in Arizona. But you can see those are 3 people. That's actually me with my daughter and her best friend at Cathedral. Some call it Sedona. We all call it heaven. Sedona is a place where you can literally go outside 365 days a year. It is, as you see on the left, well, my left is the Bell Rock, the pathway up. That's a very popular place to visit and what we call the Village of Oak Creek, Sedona. And then on the right, you're seeing Sedona downtown, and that was winter, my first winter here in 2019. I'm not a native Arizona, but I love Arizona because of the extremes you get. And the snow here in Sedona, it goes away pretty quickly. If it stays around a couple days, it's got to be freezing, and then we pop back up very quickly, but we do get snow. So here are a few fast climate facts. Our hottest month is August, and the high is literally 97. And what is interesting is you can see the extreme of January, our high is 56, which for a lot of communities isn't high. But the hottest month, if you get out in the morning, because you can go outside at 5 a.m. and it'll be light enough for you to be outside by even 5 a.m. with a headlamp, but you can be outside. So we have these incredibly long days that you can beat the sun, but you want to get back in by 10 a.m. and then you can go back out, 5 p.m. and enjoy being outside. Our coldest month is January, and that's the month we just exited. And I was disappointed because we haven't had snow here yet. So we had snow in 2019, snow in 2020, snow in 2021, but no snow in 2022. So I'm hoping in February we get to have snow. This is a very interesting fact. Those of you that are familiar with Arizona, our wettest month is March, but the state's wettest month is typically when we have our monsoon season, and that's when the rains come. It's sort of like being on the coast in Florida. They had something similar where the rains come in the afternoon and then the sun comes back out. We can get very intense rain that cause quite serious flooding. And in Arizona, they do have what they call an idiot law, that if the sign says don't drive through here if you see water, you will literally get a ticket if you get in there and get stuck. But even more serious than that, there is usually at least 1 death a year of someone driving and the floodwaters catching their car and whisking them away. So the wettest month for Sedona, March, but overall the state gets the bulk of its rain, and we don't get a lot of rain. It's sort of like Southern California, would be in June, July, and August. Outdoors are the thing to do. And I have a recent picture of everybody wearing their masks. You don't have to wear them outdoors, but they put them on just to kind of tag. This was the year that we did this. So this is our group hiking in Sedona in 2021 in the winter. And then there's another picture prior to the pandemic. That's a 2018 picture where they're not wearing their masks. You can go outside and you can see our red rock pretty much every day. The rocks do become slick, so you would want to pick your area first. Here is the average temperature, rainfall, and daylight hours. I know it's a lot. I sent this, not that you'd be that interested, but if you are, I sent this PowerPoint in a PDF if somebody wanted to look at this. And you can see our average temperature throughout the year and our rainfall. And what I like the best are the daylight hours, because people don't move to Sedona to stay inside. You live in Sedona because you want to go outside. So we have very long days, basically the 10-hour day. We're going to be 11 now in February, and we'll keep growing and growing and getting warmer and warmer. Sedona is a very a very dry climate. So our humidity is usually very low, and that means you need a lot of lotion and moisturizer. And you also need sunscreen, even in the winter. And all my facts come from the US climate data that you could Google yourself and see. Okay. Oops, went too fast. Sorry about that. Sedona summers are hot, mostly clear, and the winters are cold, partly cloudy, very tolerable winter. Over the course of the year, we vary from 35 degrees Fahrenheit to 94 degrees. And rarely we go below 27 with the wind chill. So when I say, oh my goodness, it was 24 degrees today, it was probably 30 degrees with a wind at 6 a.m. that brought us to 24 degrees. Now, the best times of year to visit, I think every day, every month is the best time to visit. But if you're thinking about visiting and cost is a factor, it's much cheaper to visit in the summer months because it is so hot and a lot of people don't like the heat. So from late May to early July, kind of like going to the Grand Canyon, we're only 2 hours from the Grand Canyon when you make it to Sedona. And just like the same kind of thing, it's really hot in the summer, but in the Grand Canyon, it's really cold. So we think every time of year is the best time of year to visit here. Our elevation in Sedona is 4,200. Flagstaff is about 7,000. We have a amount Flagstaff. The reason I mentioned that, a lot of people are familiar with that. Flagstaff is what you would drive through to get to the Grand Canyon. And that elevation is about 7,000. We have a skiing area at 12,000, and we have a downhill and then a Nordic skiing that's about 8,200. Sedona is 4,200. Prescott, where we have our other campus, is about 5,200. And then Verde Valley, where our third campus is for OLLI, is about 3,500. And it's it's warmer in the valley, it's colder in Prescott, and Sedona has the best weather. And once again, I was up in, this is our highest elevation, Wilson, here in Sedona, which I think is 9,000. And there's ice. We had ice that came up there and snow. And then the other picture you're seeing is in November. So this is December. November is Sedona proper on the Mescal Trail. Look at that sky. And so winter to summer, it's always a perfect day here. And this is our Sedona Center. Even though we don't get much snow, I loved the picture with the snow. And I wanted to show that to you. So that's my pictures of Sedona. And I had more information about daylight hours, precipitation, because a lot of people in our state are rightfully concerned about water. Some states have hurricanes, some states have floods, some states have tornadoes, brush fires. We have the issue of water, and we do have wildfires because we're alpine in the northern part of our state, so we'll be hit with that. But the issue of too many people want to live in Sedona and live in Arizona, and we don't have enough water. So that's what I prepared for you. I have some other data I can share with you, or if you,
we've got some questions for you.
Okay, great. I'm ready.
You told us kind of some of the myths that we think about when we think about Sedona, but what do most people think about where you live that's wrong? What wrong idea do we have?
Well, let's see. I think the wrong idea would be, that's a good one. I'm trying to think. I know what one thing I do like, and I'm just going to go ahead and say this before I tell the myth. The elevation is higher. And if you're coming from 500 elevation and you come to 4,000, even 500 to 4,000, you need time to acclimate. True. I think the myth is that maybe Sedona, even though it is not, it's for young people to use the trails, because I see a lot of young bikers and our chamber markets to them. But there are a lot of things that those of us, I'm 62, those of us that are the OLLI age, 50 years and beyond, you see a lot of us on the trails riding our mountain bikes and hiking and running and climbing and all of those things. I'm trying to, there's so many things that are true. Sedona is a very expensive place to live. Sedona is highly dependent on tourism. Sedona is a very high, our socioeconomic status, the income level is one of the highest in the state outside of Scottsdale and Glendale. And we also have one of the highest education rates in the state because so many people retire here that have worked at universities or have had jobs where they've had to have advanced degrees.
If you're from Sedona, where do you retire to?
I wonder that, and this is interesting. Sometimes they go to Tucson, but what I think is the most lovely is they do what I probably will do one day is go where my children are. Despite, I think when people live here, they have lived in what really is one of the top 10, it's one of the wonders of the world. So that you have lived in a place that few never even get to visit. So you go to Ann Arbor, Michigan, where my daughter is, or you retire to Sioux Falls if I had children there. And I have another daughter in Birmingham. So I would go to Birmingham, Alabama. But people frequently, that especially I will say this, since we're all have lived through the pandemic together, many of our members have decided they want to go back to their roots. I'm going to go back to Minnesota. I'm going to go back to North Carolina. I've had a good season in Sedona.
Interesting. Do you have a local newspaper or television stations?
We do. We have a local newspaper called the Red Rock News, and it is family owned by the Larson family. And I'm so delighted that Julie Larson, who's part of the Larson family, is one of our OLLI members and a very generous donor. And we're very grateful for that because, as you all know, and especially Thea and Stacy, in this day and age, especially during the pandemic, having these extra gifts from our members who love OLLI and want it to continue is so important to our programming. So we have a special place in our heart. In fact, they have an insert where they covered our brown bags called, I just have it on my desk. We had a brown bag yesterday, and they have, this is the kudos that tells you all the fun things to do. And if you're coming to Sedona, you should Google this online and find out everything you could do in northern Arizona. We have we don't have a television station. Of course, Phoenix does. That's what is it? The number 5 largest city in America. It's incredible. It's huge in landmass and huge in population, and it's terrific in the winter. Love it in the winter. Summer, something else.
Here in South Dakota, we have a lot of different heritage backgrounds. Where our families are from, we have a lot of indigenous people. We have some sayings and colloquialisms, like we often say "ufta," and "ufta" translates to a million things. It translates to "ooh, that's heavy." It translates to "brr, it's cold." It translates to, pretty much wow. It'll mean a lot of things. Do you have any sayings or colloquialisms in your area?
Well, although we share the same kind of roots with our indigenous people, in fact, the county is named for the Yavapai Indian tribe. And we have in our county, our ethnic demographics in our college, we are 26% Hispanic traditionals in our 4-credit side, 26% Hispanic, which is higher than our county average. So we're very pleased with that. And we have 5% of our Native American students. But I'm trying to think, Thea, you got me. I don't know what we do say about Sedona, and you probably shouldn't repeat this. We say Sedona is woo-woo, and woo-woo incorporates a lot of things because there are many spiritual faiths practiced here. We have a Buddhist shrine here. We have many of our traditional Christian Protestant faiths. We have Catholic, Jewish. We have so many faiths represented. But woo-woo kind of encompasses people that come here for our vortexes. You've probably heard of that. These special energy places that many seek out in time of physical need, or they seek out just because they are very connected and they want the energy of a vortex. So no, I don't. The woo-woo is just sort of one we tease about. But at our college, Yavapai College, we're called the Rough Riders. And so picture a Teddy Roosevelt on a horse wearing the leather chaps. That's who we are.
Absolutely. Wow. Does anybody, I know Anne had a question for you. We'll let Anne ask her question. And then if anybody else has questions, please feel free to ask Linda.
Is that an arty place? Like Santa Fe, do you have an art community there?
Yes, and I've only been to Santa Fe once, Anne, and you may have been more than I. There is a similar feeling, but Sedona is much about the outdoors, the hiking, the biking, and these beautiful images of the mountains that we have. There's a very, in fact, there's a Sedona Art Center with whom we partner. We're providing some art classes. They have teachers for students in our school system, part of the colleges, not OLLI, but part of our college. So there is a very, and I don't know Santa Fe well enough, but I feel like we're a little bit more woo-woo than they are. There's a lot more eclectic things going on here. And we have a lot of people that come through it, some that are transients and some that just come for a season. They say Sedona is a place that you will know within your first few months or weeks here, whether you're going to fit or not. That's how strong the energies are. And that's a common thing for locals to say. Sedona will embrace you or it will spit you out.
Wow. Interesting.
It is.
I like that. Rick?
Hi, Linda.
Hi, Rick.
Our newest high school in Sioux Falls is Roosevelt High School. And their mascot is the Rough Riders.
No kidding. What synergy. I love that.
Yep. Right now it's 5 degrees with an 8 below wind chill. And the sun's out and it's a nice day.
Well,
It's going to get up to 50
sunshine,
tomorrow.
Right?
It's going to get up to 50 tomorrow.
Yay.
That's unusual.
And what is your humidity to get up to 50? Will that feel like 50 or will it be cooler?
It'll be a lot cooler. We use a lot of lotion here in the winter too.
Yeah. And sunscreen. We need sunscreen with that heat. Okay, so now it's telling me Sedona is, can you see that, 40 degrees and it feels like 33. I don't believe that. I was just outside. This is what's funny about our building here at the Sedona Center. It used to be totally open. It's the most beautiful building. That picture I showed you doesn't do it justice, but it's very impractical for education. So I'm very grateful that we're non-credit education because it lends itself to more abstract room sizes. Like there's not a complete square anywhere. Everything is juxtaposed with not even real angles. It's very odd, but in this building, our restrooms are outside. You have to exit the building 2 ways out to go to the restroom. There's not even a restroom in the administrative suite where my office is located. And so it's kind of like Florida in that sense. If you have anybody coming from Florida, I grew up in South Florida and I remember as a little girl, you know, all the classrooms look like our Birdie Valley campus where they're buildings where there's a breezeway and you walk through and the doors open wide with sliding doors. It's a little bit like Florida.
Wow. Is that typical of your architecture then?
Yes, architecture is you do see the flat roofs. You see a lot of homes with the lookout because we're a dark sky city, which means that's why I said you need a flashlight if you're going to get out really early or a headlamp. Because you don't see street signs like you do in most cities. There are certain signs that are allowed, you know, so at the stoplight and some businesses, but there is a building code now. Sedona in the 50s had dirt streets. Now we're a very expensive, high-end kind of tourist place, cost-wise, not activity-wise. It's a very down-to-earth. Once you get into the trails or visit one of our woo-woo centers, you would feel very comfortable. But it's just a costly place to visit and to live. And we've been impacted by that, as many people have, looking for people to work for us. It's hard because the cost of living is so high here. Most of us live in a suburb of Sedona.
Why the dark skies? Do you have a telescope?
Yes, well, Lowell Observatory is in Flagstaff, and we are one of those places in the West with wide open skies, and our elevation lends itself to it as well. Every night I can go outside and see a star. Every night I go out and I hear the coyotes where I live. They yell, they to each other all night long. Don't have any issue with them. They're out from basically dusk until dawn. And I'm not out in the field dusk until dawn or on the hiking trail, so I'm fine. But there's a big emphasis. In fact, we offer almost every term an astronomy course. Because our skies, especially as we retire, I think we have that opportunity to pursue subjects that were kind of interesting, but we didn't think we could make a living by majoring in that or getting a career in that. Now we're looking up at the skies. And so this is definitely one of those places where you spend a lot of time looking up.
Wow. I think Ben has a question for us.
Yes, Ben.
Maybe? Okay, how about Rick?
Linda, what are the ranges of your classes for OLLI? We have everything from archery to the history of the Beatles to election results and discussions and first aid and safety and exercise. So we got a wide gamut. And all of our instructors are volunteers, so everybody has a wide range. So
we follow the same model that you all do with Stacy and Thea. We don't pay our instructors, so the majority of our instructors are members, or we also let people in the community. You don't have to be a member to teach. So if we have an attorney come in and teach a class about a particular topic, but we are probably as diverse as you are. We have a class going on about Marxism and people concerned that our country is leaning towards socialism. And we also have a class going on recapping, and I can't think of the name, the Sinclair Lewis book about dictatorships. So we have people all over the map politically, and we believe in free speech. So as long as we've vetted the course and we feel like we're giving fair representation on topics, we do a lot of things. You practice the same policy that at the University of South Dakota. We kind of follow what they would teach, we would teach. But I love the fact you have archery. We don't have archery, but we have pickleball. How about that? And you can play pickleball year round here. Yes. I love pickleball. If you haven't discovered that, that is such a fun thing. We do the same thing that you do. We have yoga class, hiking class. Memoir writing is probably popular at every OLLI. We could go to every OLLI, Thea, right? And they would all be teaching some kind of writing class. Science and geology are very popular here, as well as psychology, counseling, self-esteem, getting, anything to do with self-improvement is popular here. And we have a culinary school. So we have culinary classes that our members can take too, at a different rate from our OLLI rate, because those are you have to pay for your food. I know we only have 2 minutes left.
There's one more question in the chat. Do the snowbirds impact your economy and real estate prices?
What has impacted our real estate prices more than anything is the Airbnb industry. And it's hitting a lot of towns. I feel as though we're becoming, those of you who are familiar with Palm Desert, we have kind of we closed an elementary school. Our number of K through 12 students has shrunk. In fact, the city of Sedona, very quickly, 2020 census, we lost almost 400 residents. So we're a town of about 10,000. So we're less than that now. People are buying homes and renting them out, or they have a home they have and they can make a lot of money on Airbnb. So it's if you ask me what was one of the biggest issues facing our city, in addition to water, and water isn't as big a deal in Sedona as it is in the Valley, Phoenix, and farther away, but it's still an issue, is the cost of living that has been accelerated by the pandemic and the changes in our country and economy and everything, how we live. The Airbnb industry is impacting our city more than anything, but we do still get snowbirds from Canada and from Michigan and from Minnesota. And I bet I have somebody from South Dakota somewhere. I need to check.
I'm sure you do. Sure you do. Wow. Well, thank you, Linda, so much. This has been really interesting. We love learning about other places.
It's been truly, you have made my day. So I thank you for including me. It's great seeing you, Thea. Great seeing you, Stacy. And yes, you can get a glass of water at the restaurant and you can say you don't want ice if you don't want ice.
Oh,
I saw that question. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, everyone. Join us tomorrow. We'll be back. 12 time.